Alright, welcome to episode 8. In episode 7 you've seen us start it and run it, didn't they? So, we're going to just test, it's not running right, we're heating up one of the catalytic converters and we don't know why. The fuel? Yeah. So, me and Rory are going to conduct some tests today. We're going to test the injectors, we're going to actuate each one of them individually, make sure they're all firing. Going to do a compression test per Kelvin from the car tune company. I'm going to do some EGTs, get some exhaust gas temperatures, and we're going to check the catalytic converter before we start it and make sure we haven't melted it, because we've got it pretty hot a couple of times now, haven't we? So me and Rory will get into this and see what we find. Yeah? Yeah. Alright guys, stay tuned.
Bye.
So don't just let me get it.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm gon' get it.
Yeah, I'm the one to get it, bruh. I swear to God I'll get it, bruh. Hey, I ain't never giving up. Yeah, I never give up. I got this, man, I got it. I will not quit, I'm on it. Never rock it. Got the block lit, I'm toxic. Spitting logic.
Alright, so I've got my book, just drawn a bit of a mud map of the engine. I'm just going to go through and individually check the powers on these, and when you activate it, you'll hear it click. I don't know if you'll hear it on the camera with the birds chirping. I just stab it into the insulation, see? So that one's firing. I've done this with the ignition on. That one fires. So this is cylinder 6. That one fires. Let's stab this one up here. Can't get that one to go in. What are you doing, Rory? You're smacking the tyres. That one doesn't seem to have anything. Why? I just don't think I'm probing it good enough here. What is going on? Oh no, there it goes. I don't know if can you hear that? Alright, so 2, 4, 6 and 8 are firing.
That side broke.
Even though this isn't the troublesome side. Doesn't hurt to check them. Alright, now we'll check the other side. I'm a bit nervous about this side, in all honesty. Since we're not going to start it anytime soon, I'll take this off. My dodgy pipe. Alright. This is where I think I'm going to have the troubles. firing. One's firing. Oh, that needs a step because he's small too. I did do some rough EGTs and I noticed that these back two weren't quite. No one's firing.
Oh.
How am I going to get into that one? Is the question. Like that. Like that, Rory.
Yeah.
Can't seem to get into that one. Knowing my luck, that'll be the troublesome one. Let's take my hat off. Passing me that screwdriver, Aurora. Thank you, Munchkin. I had it then. Because I want to check timing on this as well. Not that I think it's being played with, but you never know. old matey who I bought the donor car off did have a hard time getting it to run, but I think that's just because the fuel pump was locked. Good old E10 in it. We'll do that. So it seems like all the injectors are firing. So that's alright then. Alright, next test will be compression. We'll get a compression test going and see what the story is there. So I'll take all these covers off and I'll get back to you. As you can see, my tests haven't turned out the way we wanted them. So after I did the test on the injectors for you guys, I started into the compression test, and as soon as I tested cylinder 1, I knew something was horribly wrong. Horribly wrong. So cylinder 1 has no compression. Cylinder 2 has no compression. Cylinder 3 though has 190 psi, so she's good. Cylinder 4 has no compression. Cylinder 5 has no compression. Cylinder 6 has 180 psi. Cylinder 7 has 190 psi. And cylinder 8 has no psi. So out of the 8 cylinders, 5 have no compression whatsoever, like it doesn't even register on the gauge. So consulting with Kelvin from the Cartoon Company, and my crew chief and best friend Glenn Ponting, found out that these Series 2 1UZs are an interference engine. So we think we've slapped valves and pistons for some reason. Maybe whoever did the timing belt last time is a tooth or two out. I never checked it. The belt looks reasonably new. So I just figured it was right. It ran in the donor car. It ran on the stand. You can see that in the intro video. There was no knocking, banging or anything like that. Yeah, it was, you know, coughed and spluttered a bit when I first started it, and all that, and it was a bit doughy, but I just sort of put that down to not being started for a while. It's been like 10 years or something since this thing had ran. So I just put it down to that. But yeah, there is no compression, and to be totally honest, I find it really odd that it idles. So I pulled it apart. I took the rockers off and everything like that, and I found a broken collet or shim or whatever you want to call it that the cam rides on. I'll show you. It's also damaged the aluminium casting on the head, so the valve is stuck down now. Can you see that there? So that's broken. It's taken a bit of the lobe off there, but not too much. I should be able to get that cam machined and it should be right. But I'm gonna have to get a new shim, new bucket. Heads are gonna have to come off. We're gonna have to inspect the valves. More than likely gonna need new ones since we've got no compression on all cylinders, or basically all cylinders. So at the moment I've taken the intake off, rocker covers off, and that. I'm just going to take the radiator out, the front end off the engine. I'll pull the cooling line off at the back, and then I'm going to pull the heads and we'll have a look, and that'll probably do me for today because I think I've had enough good news. So feel free. This is just going to be another massive time lapse now, I guess, for you guys. Until I pull the heads off, and then we'll inspect them. See what it shows. I'll try and perch you up in a good spot so you can see it all, and then we'll get into it. Alright, pulled the heads off, so as suspected it's bent valves. I'll show you the heads in a minute. I've got them in the garage. So I'll show you the cylinders at the moment and what we got. We've actually fared pretty well here. Okay. So if you have a look, I've sprayed some shit in here, so don't mind that, but you can see where a bit of a kiss mark there from the valve. You can see it's nice and shiny. Some of the others, so they've kissed a bit here, and then number 8 as well has a little marking there, but the bores and everything is fine, and there, so the bottom end of this engine's actually all right. Luckily, I'll cover that up properly once I start filming. We go around to the other side, and these guys are alright too. There's no significant damage on them. Looks like they've kissed a little bit. That one has, and they're all on the intake. All the exhaust valves seem right. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and change change the, we'll probably just change the intake valves. We might lash the exhaust valves or something, see what happens there. So we'll take them in and we'll show them the heads. Yeah, I'll help you down. Come on, go in the garage. Alright, so here's the heads. This is the driver's side. I don't know how good you guys can see that, but the valves are in really good nick. Like they look like they're seated. Everything like that. So why this side had no compression is beyond me, but I'm still going to change the intake valves anyways. That seems to be where the problem lies. This is the passenger side that had the collapsed bucket, as you can see there. Nice. This plate here was completely smashed out. I did have it in here somewhere, but I seem to have misplaced it. So I'm gonna clean this up, get another bucket and shim, and put that in. If I flip this over here, you can see the valves here. So that valve is stuck out. This valve is definitely stuck out. That's the one with the smashed bucket and shim. And then up the back here, this one is broken also. Well, it's not broken, but it's bent. So this is why these cylinders have no compression. So 1, 2, and 3, which is what the book told me. This book told me that 2 didn't have compression. I can't remember which ones. But I'm going to go over my notes and have a look. I definitely know number 2 didn't have pressure. And I think, if memory serves me right, it was 7 that didn't have pressure as well. That looks like it's stuck out a little bit more than the others. So I will replace all the intake valves. And we'll go from there. But I mean, they all look pretty good. They don't look worn or anything like that. They're just bent, you know. But I did check the timing belt. I checked the timing belt before I pulled it all apart, and they all seemed fine. Everything seemed to be in its place where it should be. I might just put this down there. I'll get down with Rory. So you can stand up. Yeah. So I checked the timing belt. The timing belt was fine. All the markings lined up. Me and Glenn were talking, and it looks like the belt's been replaced, and whoever replaced it hasn't done it right, and has obviously mucked up the ignition timing or something like that, because these things never run right. I'm the third owner. So it was an old bloke that owned it before the bloke I bought it off. Obviously he's had something done to it and never ran right, so he's parked it up. This young bloke's bought it, tried to get it running thinking it was an ignition problem, when it wasn't. I got it running in the donor, and it ran alright, but it didn't run true, but I just put that down as not being fired up for a while. So I pulled it out, and then we put it on the engine stand. Hang on, baby. We put it on the engine stand, and I fired it up, and it fired up on there, but I mean, it didn't have load. It was straight off the headers, so there was no major knocks, bangs, or anything like that, so I thought it was still good. That's why we just went about shoehorning it in the truck. I probably should have taken more care and checked it over, but anyways, this is probably going to be a really short episode, but the truck's turned into a bit of a disaster at the moment. A lot more work than what I was expecting. But the heads are off, so now I'm just trying to find buckets, shims, and intake valves. I'll do that, and then we'll get a new timing belt on it, and a few other bits and pieces, yeah? And then me and Rory will put it back together, yeah? We'll teach you about ignition timing, and timing belts, and lashing valves, yeah? Yeah. Alright, so that's probably going to do me for now. I'll try and punch this episode out as quick as I can for you so you can catch up. But Yeah, I was actually kind of hoping to get a bit more testing done and it was going to be something simple, but it hasn't been. So, that's my fault. It's a hard lesson. It's a hard lesson learnt, and yeah, I'll remember this for the next conversion.
Bye bye.
Gonna say bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.